Brothers and sister, another video, man. No yellow light. So yes, I just realized now that panstar, a pan is somewhere you cook, but also a content metallic and a way to reprobe people in definition. Finally, after days, I had time to search it. Now, Comet Panstar. Guess what? I reported a dream that I saw three black boxes, a triangular, and I walked forward to one of it. And then suddenly I heard an helicopter. I heard helicopter. No, I heard plane. And then what happened is I said there was a plane in front of me, and I thought there was a civil unrest. I'm like, they vandalize it. But as I'm going in the cockpit, there's nobody. It's a small plane, like a jet plane, army plane. I'm going in it, and the nose is heading west. So it's stationed there. I felt like it was only almost in the backyard of an army base. So I go inside, and I'm surprised when I say, "Oh no, they vandalized," that it was just power off. So all the windows that were smashed. And then, but I just realized now that this is a telescope. Okay, and this was a sign for some people to know. Now is the time for me to reveal it before it was sealed for some people. And this telescope called Panstar, just like the star that's gonna come close. And I have to research more about Panstar so far in the series Jesus Prophetic, which I talk about the comets, the civil unrest, the anarchie, the archie, and everything that I'm gonna have in the last week that I published, mostly on YouTube. Now, if I'm gonna put this a bit of everywhere, I'm gonna share. Please feel free to share those. This series, it's free. It's for everyone. And then this pan star, if you look at it, it's like an orb. And God told me to finish that dream that after I got out from the helicopter, right in the plane, which is the observatory, a telescope, because that telescope doesn't have windows. If you looked at it, it's I don't know if they're all like this. It's around like this, just like a window of a cockpit. There's no, it's all broken, those windows. And it's in Hawaii. And somebody reported that Obama was in hiding in a dream with a green. It's not important, I heard, but I told him why. And and then this comment here after I got out on my right, I spoke about a giant hazelnuts falling, but I did not shook up compared to another dream that I had when I heard "Woof." This. They were just there about 3 4, the size of let's say around, if I could say, around milk crater size. And but it was big hazelnuts like this. So I was thinking at that time maybe it's World War III, because of involving the first Turkey, and I researched all this. But it's the tribulation. There's gonna be civil unrest, unfortunately, because another dream. What did I receive? I received that I had three things. I had a first part of the dream, which what was it, God, I can't remember. Okay, I the second part was close colony. I reported in March before it hit mostly harder, this coronavirus in the America. I'm in Canada, Toronto at that time, and I see it close like this, a rectangular, and then it clapped with two hands. I heard colony, and then it clapped one, two, three, I think. So I said, but now I see that when it's gonna close, looks like close also with coronavirus, that this is gonna be also about the comets, and it's gonna close. Another man I tried to put in the description as reported dreams of tribulation, a young, and he says to us that if he saw the green mist, he saw, like me, the green mist is gonna be Comet Atlas, or not a comet. They're usually green, and the gas emission that they have sometimes uh, huge, large around. It's called the coma. That's why they say in coma. It's called the coma. It's a gas, gases that is around the nucleus, which is the center of the comets. And this shower might be Leonid. I have to search it. There's gonna be a shower of uh, asteroids coming from a comet, if I'm not mistaken the terms here. Everything is new, so it's gonna be on my right, and it fell, but nothing shook. They were already there. So today I received that there's gonna be in South Carolina, and maybe it's there. South Carolina, it's right of uh, East City that I was north in America, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll see what happens. And the other boom that I heard, there was I wanted to go to Vancouver, where I came when I saw the green mist. Thus, maybe the green mist will hit there. And after I spoke about the woman, it's very important that I say that when I left, when I heard don't run, but I left. I was walking in the middle of the street, nobody was there. The woman was grabbed by the devil, which had the green mist, and she passed out. So it's not gonna be the rapture, but again, if you die, uh, it's martyr or not. So I left when I heard don't run, but I went in the middle of the street, and what happened is two devils came and grabbed me, and at that time, because I sinned, I know that I had to follow them, which probably means if you sin, you will encounter sinners. And you know and it's not really a way to say it, but and it can be even worse if you sin, because usually when you sin, if they tell you to deny your faith in Christ, sometimes you will. So that's why it's important now to prepare. Not for all, most of you. Me, I arrived then in a basement. These two black half-meter demons brought me in a basement, and only because I was smoking cigarette. Back then, I was swearing too much. Even sometimes it enveloped in some videos, and I apologize for this. I repent since then. And maybe some sexual very very devious on my corner, stuff like this that I spoke. But at that time, I'm not sure if I was doing it that one. I don't think. It was mostly swearing, getting mad, I think. And that little period I was smoking very few cigarettes, and I was living without money. So what happened is that suddenly I'm in a basement. That's where it's gonna be tribulation. And in the basement, the man that brought me there, one or two, I see just like a satanic priest, or what do you call a chief or whatever, he does like this, smiling to his left. So we go, and immediately I'm in a torturing room. And some people have reported that. And they grab some knives, kind of speak. Even the first was like degree, starting slow, even with a sander in steel, put it on my arm, and smiling one, and the other one with the smallest knife, trying to cut. I knew that next they're gonna try to cut my left arm, so I moved. When you move, they're gonna be even more worse. And then I denied Christ through a sign of the X, which is representing the mark of the beast. So I didn't see how they're gonna want that. Or is it gonna after that put you a tattoo? We know that in the West, I received that in Vancouver, because in the West is like Hollywood. It's a lot of Satanists in the West, and that's how it is. They went in the West. Even me, when I did bad stuff and fighting, I went west to province. So that's my spiritual story. But don't get me wrong. The weather is nice there, but it's not our thing right now to have paradise on earth. We have to work. It's not time to rest. It's not time to say like Jim Morrison, the West is the best. This is not the time right now. We have a job to do. So as Christians, and at least and don't be afraid. Share the gospel around, because at least you're gonna wake up in the outer darkness where it's all dark. You might not wake up in the hellfire. There's different degrees, but there's also the total darkness, which is outer darkness for the people who have not shined in Jesus. Even stay home without sinning is usually not enough, unless you sacrifice yourself, and through some kind of mortification that is even fasting. I don't want to scare nobody there. Usually that's involve more higher degrees that I even not myself sometimes practice at all, but through fasting. So saying this video is long, but I'll continue. um, we talk about Comet Atlas, we talk about Comet Swan a little bit, and which name I'm gonna know soon. That's gonna hit in South Carolina, which in my dream they want anti-chino playing cards, and I left, and I'm gonna receive other messages too. Another dream, that Swan, I saw it in the Word Leader, and I was very disappointed that the general of Putin jumped up when I saw the left. It was kind of ARP, 1, 2, 3. It's like a ARP with different chord, but it can also come from there with or without ARP. I don't know. That thing was more to spy, I believe, not to. I don't think you can influence to what degree comets. Comets are coming from above, so to speak, outer space. I don't think from underneath influence to attract comets. I don't think somebody would be. I mean, they're evil people. Don't get me wrong. If you don't follow God and you have, there's different degrees. Sometimes God, when somebody says do enough evil, says enough for that person and his life is over. But um, when I saw that ARP, which is in North Alaska now, I know, but it can also be Comet, maybe Comet Swan. But Comet Swan, I saw it coming from the west. I mean, from the east, and northwest was Alaska ARP. So I don't know if it's those two comets to meet with Garabandal. There's gonna be a clash of comets, and you're gonna feel where you're going. Me, in 2010, I felt this. I was an hermit in the woods. I had my habit that I receive in dreams. I had even my tonsure, and it was a tingling in my body that lasts for 3-4 seconds. Some people, unfortunately, apparently, the seers of Garamaldal, Conchita Gonzalez, said that she saw it, and it's going to be a warning, a last warning directly from God. People will know. Unfortunately, some scientists will speak about an illusion. They might say a supernova. We'll see what they're going to say. Uh, but she said it's like, and everybody's going to stand for a second, feel where they're going. Some people will feel the fire of hell so much because they're in mortal sin and in grief sin and not repented, that they will die from the shock, unfortunately. So me, when I felt my seconds, I received some people to pray for. One, two, I forgot. The third one was Richard Dreyfuss, and it might be symbolic for 1, 2 that I don't know, which might be for the Catholic Church, Orthodox Church, and Richard Dreyfuss, which is Jewish, or it can be literally for these people too, as I learned later that he was a high degree Freemason, unfortunately, and that's it. So and this is what happened. If you pass that stage, you will be called to pray for some people while it's going on. And how long it was, I can remember. A few seconds, a few minutes, I can remember. I've squirreled a lot of my talents in Jesus. But right now, I know that these comments is for real. Meteorites in 2029, apparently, it's Apophis, which passed so close, colliding. So this might be a lot of people will almost not leave more. Receive about, unfortunately, Archie Mountbatten. When he was young, it was he went to a store. He said, "I buy you everything." He was alone. He was maybe not more than 10 years old. He was alone, maybe 7. So I buy you this, and they looked at him like this. Even people who worked there or had it. So he didn't have that notion. And the second one, he was again coming from the same thing from west to east. I published it a year ago when I was in Vancouver, and yes, They left for Vancouver. Now they, unfortunately, as a bad sign, lost angels, Los Angeles. So this is a bad sign. So the second party was going up a building, kind of those government cheap buildings, and again was to black people. The first one was like to Indian kind of people. Second one was a black woman, a little bit fat, and she was loitering in the hallway to talk to skinny black man, and I had the feeling that she wanted, but he was playing her. So he passed by her, and he says, "Here," and he gives something. He says, well, he says, "Go buy yourself." Uh, I couldn't see what he was giving to him. Maybe just what he says. Maybe something. He says, "Go buy yourself." He gives something to her because he said, "Go buy yourself a new dress." And she went, and the guy behind comes and he says, "Can I," with a smile, like a devil, "Can I come with you?" And that might be his a devil too in some sense, but he was in flesh. I had the feeling that she felt a lower self-esteem, and him playing her like a player, so to speak. They use in the jargon speaking, which means a man that goes around with any woman for other personal gain, material. So all gain, so using her. The third one was he went to a house. Let's say he took the elevator or Lloydin, and then suddenly he enters an apartment, and I see this empty apartment, and an older person stayed there. Maybe there were two three, but there was like down things to the thing, like there was almost nothing to do. It was very calm, and he goes and he says, "Here, buy yourself a radio." And I'm saying, how much is a radio? Because when I received a dream in 2018, a radio, what was a radio? Since then, I know it's radio frequency for modems. And this can be the image of the mark of the beast. And the person that goes about the mark of the beast can be the false prophet to take the image of the mark of the beast. And there's going to be an anarchy. Archie, another man had a dream about something. So, anyways, so again, black people, and she took it and looked at me with big eyes. And then he was not in the dream no more, and then she went and look, the what do you call this, the wooden black steel, whatever it is, where you put on the shelf where you can put your TV and your videos underneath or whatever. There was no TV, everything was empty, but underneath there was a wood thing, and you would think that, let's say it's a square, it will be down, it was up there, just like when I was that was a sign for me, using the Vancouver library at that time almost every day, and that's why I did not preach. And the modems were were like this, stuck to underneath the shelf where you would put your hands, or the keyboard. So I think that was a sign to me, and I looked, and they had already won. So I said, he's gonna be even blind to not to, and that I thought it was also the three stages. And so the first he give like this, almost to everyone young. The second one, it's because he's gonna have lust for woman, or self-gratitude. There, go buy yourself a new dress, it's outside, it's not important, it's about him. And the third one, it's the third one, what is it? It says, "Go buy your modem." It's almost like at the end of his age, he's gonna do this. I spoke about it. Anybody that follows my video, God told me, "Look, I'm opening you the door," and that's for the antichrist. But I told it, that was not for me to do, because God blinded me. I was in an apartment which I returned when I saw God, and I see a woman running for her life, and I opened the second door to enter in the lobby, and she was followed by a Satanist. And that woman suddenly, the other woman entered too, and I said she was not scared of her, that to kill the baby. And the other one was just following, and the other, like the witch, said, "He is Damien." and Damien was the movie for the antichrist. And I said, come. When I looked at her running, I said, I'll open you the door. So for me, I don't have any guilt of it because I'm preaching Jesus and I'm ready to die for him. I'm just a pawn, not a pawn, but a player that makes it also what I had to do. I was intelligent and it was my time to share. And if he has these video and do it, well, all I can say as God was not telling me is that repent. Uh, you have the choice. And I know his mom really likes her, and I think his mother. I feel like she's praying the Virgin Mary with the Rosary Catholic. Not only how I live in Toronto, she was, and then they went in Vancouver. But as for his son, it's a bit. I thought about this last days. Archie, not Archie, the one with the orange hair. That I had a dream that it was closed. I don't want to piss him off. I already published but why he had the orange hair when people stay too close in a house and the gas. But it might have been because he didn't want to go outside. He wanted to have peace. And sometimes, unfortunately, you have to trust the outside. You have to trust for the best. And maybe at that time, his mother too, assassinated or not, it might be heavy on his heart, but he gotta forgive. You gotta forgive, son, because don't carry that to other generations because there's a word called I don't want to piss you off. I heard it's gonna piss you off. Desecrate. It's just like there's the bloodlines, right? And the kings, and they trying to keep everything clean. Your wife is pretty. uh when I was back in Toronto recently, somebody like his twin was serving in Kipling and Finch, and I talked about her face to face, and she there was an opening for me to talk, but I wanted to return to Vancouver, so I did not push. And what I wanted to say is that um, she prays. I feel like 1 2 days she was like, when I did a video about him, that she was like, she's afraid that his son is gonna be the antichrist. I don't know. I know that there's Archie, anarchie, but also no, Mountbatten means batten, something that's gonna hold, piece of wood. And somebody saw that when he was running in kind of a female camp, he passed, and he saw at the other side. It's not for me to be given now, and he saw a cross but with trash holding it. Trash is a sign not only of prostitution, but I think the toe cross, because I heard toe also. Maybe he did not recognize it's like a cross, and I think that's that cross where its origin. I think it comes from something like this, promiscuity or something, and a baton is. He said trash was holding that cross, and he said that when he flew from the female camp, he entered there. By the way, there was drone at that time, everything. I had all the dreams too of cyborgs and all this. It's gonna be a completely chaos. You already see it now with coronavirus. He went and he talked to those people. It's like the movie Bad Batch, the dream. It's always prophetic because the devil knows what's coming, and because he has his agent doing this. And when you don't follow God, it doesn't take a, a prophet of God to know what's coming up. That's why he knows, and that's why this movie comes, and it's a bit prophetic. That's why people say, "Oh, Simpson and this prophet dies." It's not that. And sometimes I'm telling you, as somebody that sold his soul and returned, that God doesn't want me to talk about it, and I didn't praise Him one time, and that's why I returned immediately after he asked for praise. After a week or two, there was a revelation. This gift I had it before, so these revelations started to do for the bad. This gift, just like if you sin, you can use it for bad stuff. God told me Nostradamus is in hell because he did what he wanted to do. So I'm not pointing fingers, but again, in the dream, the young man said when he ran there, He saw the cross. He went and he said to some people, "What do you think about Jesus?" Because he saw that name, and you see Archie, how many letter? Archie, or and it's gonna be an anarchy. Anarchy is like chaos, and he said, just like my dream, the colony. And he said, "Oh, that white guy is trash," or that white guy, whatever he said. And he's white himself, so there's gonna be maybe Spanish or Latino, whatever, black people. And just like my dream, this arch is gonna be almost Durkanes, walking in there. And I'm not sure where the brother was, but he said that when he passed some waters also. So now, this saying this, I had this on my chest for 1 2 days. Also, one man that saw this comet hitting East Coast, like a crescent moon, and maybe the flag that I received South Carolina is a crescent moon. He said a comet just East Coast, and then he walked out and he said we walked because everything was dark, and he he talked to some people and they call themselves afters. He said I don't know what it is. 4 years ago he published this, so about 2016, 2017, and I just saw it and I told him what afters means. Uh, that's what, and he said it had to do with half American, and that's what I told him there's gonna be a racial civil unrest in the states, and with the color, and that's it.